And of course, we talked about him. He's no denial of service in the bottom right. In the blue, he is DnS.
And in the top left corner, still teamless, but wouldn't be surprised if someone picks him up again. He's proven talent in the past. It is the red Protoss player, Lilbow.
No, he's playing for Alter right now.
Oh, he's already gotten picked up. I am so sorry. Yes, of
DnS
course.
is the teamless player that needs to get picked up.
Yes. The other way around. Yeah. So excuse me for that small mistake over there. Team Alter, founded by one of the members of O Gaming, TKL, who's said to himself, I make too much money casting StarCraft. I'm gonna invest in some of those players. And Lilbow alongside with the PT Drogo on that team.
Oh yeah, I guess Drogo is on that team. No, it's kind of, so what, we have Coca Authentic Pepite, which is Coca's team from O Gaming, and we have Alter now from TKL. How long until Funka's got his own team?
I mean, they both of these are supporting players of their own races, and I'm not sure there are that many up-and-coming French Terran players, because Funka is, of course, Terran. So, given the fact that Clem is already on Liquid, he's struggling to find more players, I believe.
That's fair. I mean, he could have gotten Clem when Clem was still up and coming. No, that's not even fair. Clem was known to be a really strong talent before he was old enough to compete, much like Raynor was, where it's like, oh, come on, I can't do it. This kid. He's got to be old enough for Blizzard to let him play in these tournaments, or ESL to let him play in these tournaments, because it's going to be fantastic. And then he turned out to be fantastic. I love that we have this upswell of young talent in Europe in particular. You know, we have MaxPax, one of each race, MaxPax, Clem, Raynor, looking at just fantastic across the board. But you know, it's also fantastic.
It's also the French scene in particular. They have their own. Maybe I don't want to call it national league, but O Gaming is hosting the Underdog series, which continuously produces great games, great matches that viewers outside of France are not that exposed to, because it's only covered in French. But yeah, these kinds of players have almost always made their first steps into competitive play in those Underdog series, and yeah, that's where we saw. Clem growing up to the player that he is today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, you know, as we talk about players growing up, players going down, whatever, or players moving up in the ranks, moving down in the ranks, one thing we should talk about is specifically in this map, in this series in general, if DnS wins this map, Acheron is eliminated. He's not, the next series, he's not going to really have as much to fight for anymore. I mean, placing is important. Winning series is important. You get more money that way. But he will have no chance to make it to the playoffs anymore, which is a bit sad. As, well, now we do have this in this game, both players. It's that old gentleman's agreement. Blink +1 coming on in from both players. And probably going to be third base.
Yeah,
Sorry?
probably we will see you for a third base. Lilbow just a little bit afraid, though, adding on a cannon, because his robo is just a tiny bit late. If DnS were to rush for DTs, then I guess that would be an earlier way of detection. We as observers know that this is not happening, and this is for the time being, I guess, wasted 150 minerals, but just a bit safer. And so far it didn't really mean anything, as players get the third base and blink and +1 at roughly the same times. And yeah, DnS trying to get some damage done, uses 2 adepts to try and kill some probes, doesn't really get what he wants and gets these 2 adepts pick off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess that maybe makes the cannon worthwhile, right? You got the adepts, you get that little extra DPS, but honestly, the adepts are probably going to go down anyways. Now, DnS is going to scout the stats. Okay, you got a couple of additional gateways coming on down. You got everything else that you could expect. These extra gateways are a little bit faster for Lilbow than normal. Actually, unless he was, yeah. So he's going up to 6 gates a lot faster than DnS is. This does provide him maybe a little bit of aggressive opportunity. But it's going to be, if he does it, it's going to be a poke. It's not going to be anything too significant, too severe. That being said, he is only, well, both players are actually only on 3 gas. We're not going into super high tech for the moment. Lilbow does have his charge just a little bit faster. But yeah, it's not a big difference at the end of the day. DnS is the extra 1 worker. But look at this. Lilbow, he's pretty much taking his 4th as his 3rd base finishes.
Yeah, he's progressing nicely here. He's getting his +2 a little bit quicker than DnS is. Has charge on the way, Templar Archive being built. So he's down just a little bit in supply here, but that is only army supply, and he's advancing in the tech just a little bit quicker than DnS. But that's also because DnS is choosing a different tech path. He is slapping down that robotics bay, 2nd robo, and will move forward into those disruptors, whereas Lilbow is looking for a heavy bruiser style of army with those charge lot Archons.
Yeah, man, these type of PvPs where you do have that stylistic difference, right? One player goes, say, Blink Stalker Disruptor, one player just goes Charge Lot Archon Immortal, or just Charge Lot Archon. I think those are the most interesting games, or, you know, Blink Stalker versus Sky Toss or something, because no longer do you have 2 players trying to play the same game and play it better. You have players trying to play different games and looking for different opportunities of attack, different opportunities of defense, and that just makes life a little bit more difficult, a little bit more interesting, I think. As we do, Lilbow is going to try to knock down this 4th base of DnS. Nice force build. It's going to force a lot of these zealots to not really do all that much, but Lilbow, he's got his way in. That earlier production is really coming to benefit him here, as the 4th base will get target fired on down, will get canceled here by DnS. And now Lilbow, he's going to keep moving on in. More and more targets getting warped in, of course. And the disruptors are going to complicate this, because it means that Lilbow cannot really defensively blink in the engagement. He just has to blink backwards out of those disruptor shots. It does give DnS a little bit more ability to take this fight just a little bit. As disruptor shot's going to go on out. Once again, Lilbow, he will dodge, only losing at depth. That's fine. But DnS is starting to hit that army supply lead. His army is getting better, more powerful. 2 disruptors coming out at a time. And with the shield battery overcharge, it's really difficult for Lilbow to get the value that he's looking for. But realistically, the value is his 4th base is up. The value is that he is probing that base up, and he is pretty fine with how things are going.
Yeah, he's fine, just sitting here posturing. He's never going to take a great disruptor shot, because he doesn't want to commit. He's just posturing here, taking out what he can. Whereas at home, he's sitting on that 4th base. He should probably take the gases at that 4th base, just so that he can warp something else than zealots. He did warp in just a chunk of zealots, and that's why he jumped up in supply here. But he just says, look, you're ahead in the disruptor count. I don't want to play the catch-up game. I'm going to transition straight into the Stargate play, and he's denying 4th bases here again. So while DnS is still struggling to get that up, Lilbow's already advancing into that higher tech.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting here that we see Lilbow. He has this. I mean, in part, it's his big mineral count, because that's just, he has a lot of gateways and he's just building a bunch of zealots. But he's going into this double Stargate tech. Well, okay, he's just doing it for Mass Phoenix, but I was gonna say, yeah, he's on 3 gas, and going into the double Stargate tech there. Now, disruptor shots, they're not gonna land. But at this point, Lilbow is in a fantastic spot in this game. He's knocked down. He's really curtailing DnS on 3 bases. He's got the counter tech that he needs to make sure that DnS is not all that happy. He's going to start to snowball in supply, because he does just have that additional income and has had it for a significant amount of time, the last 2.5, 3 minutes. And well, DnS, he just says, look, okay, I can't win this game by playing the game that I'm playing. I got to keep progressing at my tech tree. So we're going to see a Templar Archives go down. Maybe the Archons can sit under the Phoenix, make something happen there. But Lilbow, he's just very content to sit here, keep canceling bases. And, you know, if he's going to be able to stay on 4 to 5 bases while his opponent is curtailed to 3, that's a really good way to win a game of StarCraft.
Also, DnS has no idea that the answer to the disruptors from Lilbow are going to be those Mass Phoenixes. So it's really an adjustment that you have to make in your play. You have to use your disruptors a lot differently, and these Phoenixes have gone completely unnoticed, and Lilbow's almost maxed out here, so as soon as he gets a Phoenix count that he's comfortable with, he's going to swoop in here, lift up all the disruptors, and just get on top of this army. The rest of his army is just a ton of zealots and stalkers, but with these Phoenixes, if all of these disruptors get picked up and Lilbow gets on top, DnS is going to be toast.
Yeah, Zealots, of course, insanely good against a bunch of Stalkers. I mean, we do have Archons now. With the 3 Archons, it invalidates these Phoenix just a little bit. Very much invalidates the Zealots. I mean, let me talk to you about Splash against biological units. But anyways, we're going to have the Zealots looking to roll on in here. Disruptor shots are just not firing because right now, DnS knows he can't do that. The minute he starts to move those disruptors in, oh, he doesn't get the lift. There he goes. He gets, but now, there we go. All the disruptor shots are going to go on down, but the lifts are going to be there. 4th base is going to get canceled. Stalkers trying to take the fight for all they're worth, but the Zealots of Lilbow are getting annihilated. Disruptor shots are starting to land despite the Phoenix, and DnS, it looks like he is taking this fight despite everything, despite the tech counters from Lilbow. Zealots, they can't even find their way on into the fight.
Oh, he just seems to have enough disruptors to still have shots going through, and this is a close fight, but now Lilbow has to blink back from the disruptor shots, loses 2 there, and the Phoenix transition, even though it has gone completely unscouted, did not work out for Lilbow. Lilbow's still sitting on 5 bases, and he just denied another 4th base attempt of DnS, but he has to be very, very careful here on how he wants to take these fights. DnS, interestingly enough, now transitioning into Colossus, which I guess they add that solid all the time splash damage into that army. There's still a couple of disruptors on the ground, but Lilbow, he's never stopped producing Phoenixes.
I mean, you can't lift a Colossus. You can certainly shoot it down, but you cannot lift it. And you're right, consistent DPS. Archon, you stick, like, if you get a bunch of Archons, maybe stick them underneath the Colossus there. That makes the a little bit harder for the Phoenix to take the engagement and shoot them down, and then it's just double damage against massive amounts of charge slots. Because I mean, realistically, up until what, a minute ago, Lilbow was on 3 gas. He just did not have the gas count that he really was looking for to make this happen. So now he's going to look to try to pressure once again. Once again, he does have a supply lead, but it's not 30 army supply anymore. It's just not barely anything. It's just the 10. And with this Colossus here, with these disruptors, with the Stalkers everywhere else, and with this Zealot run by on into this 5th base of Lilbow, DnS, he's still pretty happy. I mean, his economy is not exactly where he wants it to be, but he is actually going to get this 4th base done this time. Stalkers are pulling on forward. One disruptor, will go down immediately. And we're getting pretty close to having 4 disruptors here, or 4 Colossus, that and extended thermal lance, which is where life is going to be rather interesting for Lilbow, as the Zealots are just going to get shredded. But for the moment,
it's all going to come down to this next fight here. The army from Lilbow still very, very low tech. It's only 1 million Zealots and Stalkers with the Phoenix's support. He's gonna go for this one more time, but now there are 4 Colossus. Archon sitting underneath to protect. The Phoenix do not get the lifts on the disruptors in time. Lilbow's taken massive disruptor shots here, and it looks like he just doesn't have enough to take this fight. The Phoenixes have all but gone down, and now the DNS's army with the Colossus, with the disruptors just standing strong, forcing Lilbow to tap out.
Yeah, what a game there from DnS. He goes, he doesn't die, and he doesn't die, and he doesn't die, but he gets close. But he keeps developing his army. He makes it bigger. He makes it better. He keeps moving his composition around to just make it as good as it possibly can be against what was a 5 base all-in from Lilbow. I mean, again, he's on 3 gases for the entirety of it. Just a lot of Zealots hoping to catch his opponent off guard. But on a map like Romanticide, if your opponent wants to sit on 3 to 4 bases, it's kind of hard to stop him. Taking the fights into those chokes like that are not really something that's easy to do. And DnS, he abused that.
Very, very important for DnS that he did take the 4th base location that he did take. The other one, way more open, way more accessible for those Zealots and Stalkers. So yeah, great on him identifying that he has to play this way to win out the game. I can't help but feel like big missed opportunity for Lilbow there. He had the idea of going for the double Phoenix and wanted to close out the game. But it has to sting when you're sitting there on 5 bases against 3 and you're losing the game because you just can't break through.
Yeah, I really expected carriers or tempests or something. You know, advance pat. Yeah, advance into the late game. I mean, yeah, he was only on 3 gases, but it's the work of 10 seconds to go and take your extra bases there, to take all the gases that you got in your bases, really just skyrocket that gas income, and start mining from that. Go into carrier tech, whatever you want, because the world's your oyster. As you said, your opponent's on 3 bases, you're on 5. It shouldn't matter what you do. You should be able to break them. But maybe not all ending with a bunch of Zealot Phoenix.
Anyways. And with that map being won by DnS now, does that mean Acheron is eliminated? I think so.
Yes, it does. Acheron can no longer qualify for the playoffs. So, at that point, DnS, he's sitting pretty happy. One less contender that's going to look to knock him out of the playoffs. So we're going to have to see whether we can make this a 2-0, whether Lilbow is going to take us to a game number 3. Game number 2, it's right here. And in the upper right, in the red, he is our Alter Esports. The former champion of Europe is Lilbow.
And in the bottom left, still in the run for playoff spots here, needs to win the series to make that happen. It is the blue Protoss player, DnS.
You know, I'm kind of sad in that we had one series, not yesterday, 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago, where we hit our intros right in time with the horn was on the intro music. So, like, you said, it's Lilbow, and then just on the zoom in, we got the nice big mini crescendo, and we did it for both players on the. And I've been chasing that high ever since. We have not gotten it yet. But I'm just saying.
We have a few more matches to go to keep trying.
Yeah, it's only like 6 more matches. It's fine. We'll do it.
Yeah, it's a long day ahead of us. We're not only doing EU, but after that NA as well. So you're gonna have to stick with us, with our voices, with our I guess our faces when we're on the break screen for just a few more hours. If you want to see some great StarCraft.
I mean, face it. You'll love him. Different opinions about me, whatever. But Vitamin, he is, who doesn't love vitamins? They keep you alive. They make you all excited and energetic. They make your skin glow, your hair all nice and beautiful. So, absolutely. Vitamin doing a great job there. Now, DnS, of course, apparently he's in the meta right now of dropping that scouting pylon just to see what comes out of those gateways first. It's kind of interesting seeing. That's a very much an idea that goes in and out of favor. Sometimes you see every Protoss player just doing it for months, and then, well, it just doesn't happen. And then suddenly it's no one's doing it for a couple months, and it's just going back and forth. Depending on how aggressive and how common things like 6 adept openers are, things like that.
Yeah. What do we have other the first couple of gateways this time around? So we have double Stalker from DnS, followed up by 4 more Adepts, and that makes me think that he wants to make something happen with those. On the other side of the map, Lilbow, a bit more standard, already going for that Twilight Console, but these 4 Adepts, DnS must have a plan for them here, because otherwise it just heavily delays his tech, and that is, in general, not great. And now he's even going up to 6 Adepts. Okay.
These 6 Adepts are, if anything, they allow him to accelerate his tech just theoretically a little bit. Okay, you're getting 6 of them, but they are less gas expensive than Stalkers, for example, as Lilbow will scout these Adepts running their way onto the map at this point. They want to get a couple things. Ideally, they find their way out into the main base. Even if there's a wall, if the wall is slow enough, they'll be able to target fire that one down. If they cannot really manage that one, we're going to see things like them just sit. Oh, they're going to find their way in. Oh. And that means 3 dead sentries just like that.
Oh, gets straight onto the sentry. It's very, very expensive here for Lilbow. And now this has potential to deal way, way more damage. He's taken so many probe losses already. 5 gone down, 6, 7. And now these adepts can just shade back and forth. There's no probe available to block in the main base. And there are more probes are going to go down here. What a terrible, terrible start for the Red Protoss player.
Yeah, I think this is this is just game at this point. This is game-ending damage here. We're gonna see 12 workers go down, 3 sentries are dead, so no even defensive utility. DnS, he's up. What is that? He's up 8 workers. His tech's just his blink's slightly slower, but not by any significant margin. He's got +1. He can afford that. He's got a robo underway. I would not be surprised to see him get aggressive, but actually, it's not even gonna matter because Lilbow's like, look, I lost. It's just insurmountable damage in this game. So I gotta go, I gotta attack right now. I gotta make something happen. I gotta make my opponent hurt for what he did to me. But those sentries that were killed, they exist for DnS. He has them. He's gonna have Guardian Shield. He's gonna have Force Fields. He's gonna have what he needs. And eventually he's gonna have a sealed battery as well as Darks look to move on in. Those Force Fields not all that great actually, as all the Stalkers of Lilbow are able to come to the fore here, are able to get their damage done. Shield battery overcharge is gonna get popped, but that only means it's gonna get target fired on down here. It's not gonna buy too much time for DnS, but it looks like it's gonna buy just enough. As now DnS, he's going to go back to mining, and Lilbow, he's going to be chased down.
Yeah, that shield battery being laid opened up just a tiny room that Lilbow could strike on there, but in the end, with the additional warp in, DnS gets the hold, and yeah, remains ahead in this game. The adepts in the early game, I really thought you said they would deal game-ending damage, but Lilbow has now caught up just a tiny bit. In workers again, is only 2 probes behind. Has his 3rd base on the way, and yeah, all around, yeah, he's just a bit behind in every metric. He is well, now he's caught even on workers, but just a bit behind on army supply. But this is at this point, yeah, he can recover from this.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, 12 workers, 3 sentries. For 6 adepts, I mean, you feel like, oh man, this is game. There's no way Lilbow comes back from this. It's not even like he got that much economic damage against DnS. I think he killed maybe like 1 probe. That's not the right button. Yeah, no, he didn't. Actually, he's not killed a single probe in this game, but he got some stalkers. He forced probes to stop being built for a little bit, and you know, he forced a lot of units out of DnS, and I guess that's what it was. But now DnS is going to find Lilbow here, and Lilbow's going to find DnS. +1 is done for DnS right now, so he just have that minor upgrade advantage. It will force Lilbow back for the time being. And DnS, he does have that army supply lead that he's looking to leverage. Now, you talk about big differences. The Robo has been done a lot longer for DnS than it is for Lilbow, but Lilbow, he chronoed out that Warp Prism. He's now able to get aggressive on the map. And, well, again, it's surprising how even this game is. Now, we will have +2 underway for DnS, Dark Shrine as well. Lilbow, though, he says, no. I'm going to add an extra gateway. I'm going to add that production, and I'm just going to get aggressive. I'm going to try to make it so you can't do much what you can. Stalkers playing on top of the Warp Prism.
Warp Prism goes down, loses a couple Stalkers for this, but well worth it if he can make the defense happen here. The shield battery is going to finish up. Without the additional Warpins, Lilbow is going to have a hard time breaking through here. And DnS behind this, he is the one advancing his tech. He is the one getting +2 and getting the Dark Shrine. And yeah, Lilbow just very, yeah, committed to making these Blink Stalkers work here. And yeah, in that case, there isn't a defender's advantage. There's no Warp Prism for immediate Warp-ins for Lilbow, so he's gonna have a very tough time getting anything done here against a defensive setup from DnS. But DnS, he can't get overzealous. He can't get too invested into his tech because he needs to identify that this is defend to win the game.
Yeah, well, the Dark Shrine is done, and I believe an observer was killed. I don't know on which side. Okay, that was just Stalkers. Never mind. How many observers do we have? Actually, no, not a single observer on the field right now. So these DTs that are warping on in here for DnS, they should allow him to very easily make this defense happen. But I think, yeah, no, there's the DTs on the other side of the map. Excuse me. So Lilbow is about to take even more economic damage than he already has, and he's not going to be able to counter it. GG DnS.